What is up? What is up? Welcome back. Another episode of Blood and Beer. And sorry for the wait. I've been busy as shit. A lot been going on in my life. A lot been going on in the combat sports world. We're just gonna dive right back in, pick up like nothing fucking happened. It's been a few weeks. Just been busy. So sorry for the wait. And my notes. Not off to a hot start. All right. So, get started. As always, we're talking blood sport. We're drinking beer. The beer today is hardly a beer at all. It's Budweiser Zero. Full flavored, zero alcohol brew, 50 calories. We're going to see what this week's shit's about. We're going to see about it. Set that right there for now. Yeah, so like I said, jumping back in because this is the show where we talk blood sport and we drink beer, even though this is hardly a beer at all. But what we've got on the lineup for you today, we got UFC 273, I believe it is. It's going to be Volkanovski versus the Korean Zombie, plus another ton of great fights on that card. Then there's going to be a Bareknuckle Fight Club fight this Friday night. And this whole month, huge for boxing, great schedule coming up. So we got a little bit to talk about today. We'll dive into this beer, see how she tastes. My guess is like rat piss if it's anything like the other Budweisers. It's like you're waiting for the flavor to hit you, but it never does. That's an odd one. That's an odd flavor. Just very empty. Very empty. We're gonna give that a 3.29. I was gonna give it a 3.2, but we're gonna give it a 2.9. Dog shit. We'll finish it as we always do. Ugh, but it's bad. Yeah, so we'll jump right into the card. We got a UFC 273, and right off the bat, this card has taken a couple of hits. Kelvin Gastelum, he had a couple of fights scheduled. They got called off, changed opponents. Finally, he gets Mark Duplessis, and it looks like things are going to go through. Good to go. Kelvin gets hurt last second, fights off, so he's out of it. That sucks because he brings it every single time. All his fights are entertaining, and it just sucks that he's not going to be there. But we do have some great fights on the card. We have Mickey Gall to start off the prelims, not the early prelims, just the prelims. Mickey Gall versus Mike Mallow. Mike Mallow, he's Canadian. He's never fought in the UFC, only on Dana White Contender Series so far. He's actually the favorite in this fight. I've done a little bit of research on the guy. He's got a hell of a chin from his last CFFC fight. He's got good ground game, it looks like, and he's got real technical striking. He's looks pretty well rounded, but I don't know if he's going to be able to hang with the likes of the UFC vets. Mickey Gall, not a ton of fights, but a ton of UFC fights. This dude, he's a submission ace, and he's a fighter. He's out of the Gracie School in New Jersey, but he's a dog. If he gets you to the ground, he's gonna submit you unless you got some insane wrestling. Mickey Gall's been there, done that. He's a dog. He knows how to win fights. He's the underdog in this for some reason, but I'm picking Mickey Gall in this all the way. I think he's gonna show Mallow UFC different than CFFC. So we're gonna pick Mickey Gall on that one. And then, yeah, next fight we have is Raquel Pennington versus Aspen Ladd. Raquel Pennington's on a 3-fight win streak. I think she's 4-1 in her last 5, and she's looking to get back into that title picture. She wants that 145 strap, I imagine. Everybody can kind of sense Amanda Nunes is falling off, so it's their time to step in and get that belt. She's taking on Aspen Ladd, who normally fights at 135. This one's going to be at 145. She's a striker. She's got heavy hands, especially for when she fought at 135. We'll have to see how it translates to 145. If she's going to be as strong at that weight class, or if her power is going to hurt these women as much as it has the women at 135 in the past. I'm picking Pennington just because it's her natural weight class. At 145, she's on a streak. And in the last fight, Aspen Ladd just didn't look like she had it. She didn't look like she wanted to be there. And I think she might have lost that fight in spirit. I'm going Raquel Pennington, unanimous decision. So there's 2 right now we got picked. And then this one, I was surprised to see that this one was on the prelims. It's Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Marcin Tybura. Rozenstruik, hell of a kickboxer, heavy hands, little gun shy sometimes. In a couple of his fights, he looks a little afraid to strike with people, afraid to throw, like he's waiting almost. And he is a counter striker, but he against those heavy hitters, he just seems different. He seems a little scared. He's taken on Marcin Tybura, who been there, done that. Dude's a gamer. He's got heavy hands, that Polish power. He's got good submissions. He's good wrestling on the ground, good cage work. He's super well rounded. Tybura definitely has more tools to get this fight done. I just think Rozenstruik, I think he's going to draw him into a firefight and be able to kind of pick him apart from the outside. But Tybura, that Polish power, it only takes one. And if he gets him to the ground, he's super dangerous there as well. And Rozenstruik has good takedown defense, and he's no slouch on the ground. But I think Tybura would work him. I'm picking Rozenstruik tentatively. I think Tybura's got a real chance in this. Rozenstruik's the favorite by I think +1 or -135 or 165. But it could go either way. That one's a tough pick. Tough pick. And then finally, the featured prelim, Jan Gary taking on Darian Weeks. Jan Gary, he's looking to continue the momentum from his last fight where it was a vicious knockout first round finish. It might have been second, but I'm pretty sure it was a first round finish. Taking on Darian Weeks, who his only fight in the UFC is a loss, unanimous decision to Brian Barberena. Jan Gary, he's got a lot of momentum. He's undefeated. He's got the pride of Ireland. He's wearing it on his back. I'm picking him. Not a lot to say about it, but vicious knockout. Dude's a stud. I got Jan Gary in this one. Not a whole lot to say about it. Let's drink some more dog piss, and then we will jump into the main motherfucking card. Alright. Main card starts off, as of right now, we all know it's subject to change. They'll probably flip-flop these matchups a million times before fight night. But Mark Madsen's taking on Vince Pichel. Mark Madsen, Olympic wrestler. He's a dog. He goes out there and he just imposes his will. He's got pretty good striking, too. I think a lot of it's because people are worried about the takedown threat, so they're not expecting his strikes, and he catches them. But he's undefeated. He's coming in with a lot of momentum after I think his last fight was a split decision over Clay Guida. Taking on Vince Pichel, who, let me double check this. Yeah, 3-fight win streak. Guy's got 8 knockouts and 14 wins. He's a striker. It's going to be a fun matchup. It's a matchup of styles. If Pichel can keep Madsen on the back foot, it'll be a long night for Madsen. Problem is, Madsen is pressure in your face, head under your chin, head in your chest. Whole fight, he's going to be coming at you, just going for it, trying to close the gap and wrestle you and just impose his will. I think Madsen takes it, but if Pichel can keep him on his back foot and just eliminate that takedown threat, start off probably early leg kicks like calves and things like that to eliminate that takedown threat, then Pichel's definitely got a chance. He's actually the favorite in this, but I'm picking Madsen as the underdog because wrestling is just, that's that one that you need in MMA. It's the one that you need. All right. Mackenzie Dern versus Tesha Torres, another fight on this card. Another stylistic matchup. We got the striker and Tesha Torres, volume combos, always moving forward, picking you apart. She's taking on Mackenzie Dern, jiu-jitsu ace, jiu-jitsu beast. Gets you to the ground, breaks your arm, taps you out, does whatever she wants. They're both super great at what they do. Dern can kind of get drawn into those firefights a little bit. She'll let you pull her into a striking affair and kind of forget about her jiu-jitsu, which is a bad move. That's what happened last time out with, I think it was Marina Rodriguez. So Tesha Torres is probably going to look to follow that game plan. Mackenzie Dern, she needs to stay off of her back foot. She needs to move forward and get the takedowns early, establish that, and then search for submissions. That's her key to victory. I really have no idea who's going to win this fight. I don't have a strong pick, but gun to my head, I'm picking Mackenzie Dern. The submission threat is just too great there, and she really is an ace on the ground. Ran into a beast in Marina Rodriguez, but ace on the ground. All right, moving on, the people's main event. We have Gilbert Durinho Burns taking on Khamzat Chimaev, number 2 in Burns versus number 11. Sorry about that. Yeah, a lot of people have a lot of strong opinions on this one. Khamzat has been completely dominant in his UFC run. 112 strikes landed to only 1 absorbed. 4 fights, 4 finishes, none out of the first round. The guy has just been, he's got 2 submissions, 2 knockouts. He's doing it all. And everybody that trains with him says this guy is a monster. Monster in the gym, dominates everybody, dominated Li Jiangling. The guy's just been killing it. So much hype around him, and he's so confident. Just nobody has a bad thing to say about him as far as his fighting. He's taking on. Sorry about that. He's taking on Gilbert Durinho Burns. Burns, 3-time jiu-jitsu world champion, former title challenger. Since moving up to welterweight, his only loss is for the title against Kamaru Usman. He's got super heavy hands, and like I said, 3-time world champion in jiu-jitsu. Dude's a dog on the ground. So it's going to be, Durinho is a massive underdog, like plus 385 at the time of this recording. It's going to be a hell of a fight, I think. I think Khamzat has every tool to pull it out, and I think he does. Just mainly the size difference. He's somebody that has to cut to get to 170. Durinho had to bulk up to get to 170. But I think it's going to be a lot tougher than what people are thinking. Tougher than anything Khamzat's ever fought before. I think this one's going to end up being a war. Wouldn't be surprised if Gilbert Burns pulls it out, but I think Khamzat Chimaev is going to go in there and eventually get his will imposed and just smash. He will smash. But you never fucking know in these things, because Gilbert Burns has that one-punch power. He really does. You see what he did to Damian Maia. He almost took out Kamaru Usman. I mean, dude's a dog. He's a warrior. He loves to fight. He is about it. I'll have to wait and see. Sorry about the ruffling of the paper. Now on to the championship fights. First up, we got Petr Yan versus Aljamain Sterling, Part 2. That beer, if you want to call it that, was fucking terrible, by the way. Petr Yan versus Aljo, Part 2. First one ended in a little bit of controversy with a knee to a grounded opponent by Petr Yan, and Aljo's had the belt since. Petr Yan won the interim belt against Corey Sandhagen, but there's a lot of animosity going into this fight. Aljo's been trolling everybody the past year ever since that fight, and you just got to kind of laugh at yourself, because I don't know. We won't get into what they do on social media and all that shit. We're talking about the fights here. And Aljo, he's unique, different, throws strikes from weird angles, has really good movement, hard to hit, and great wrestling, great ground game all around. I mean, dude's a beast. Taking on Petr Yan. Petr Yan, he's got the best boxing in the UFC right now. He yeah, I mean, every fight he goes in there and he turns it into his fight. He makes you box him and doesn't give you a choice. In the first matchup, Aljo kind of he dumped his energy, but he had him thrown off a little bit. Everybody wants to say Jan was dominating, and he was towards the end. But Aljo was kind of fucking him up in the first round and a half. He had some bad moments, but he also, I don't think it was his night. I think it's going to be a much different fight. I think Petr Yan takes it, but this one's going to be a war. I think these guys are both going to go in there and just, they don't fucking like each other. They're going to fight. They're not just going to be in a mixed martial arts bout. They're going to fight, and I think it's going to be a war. I'm excited for this one. I got Petr Yan winning, but Aljo might keep that belt. I mean, dude ran through everybody same way that Petr Yan has, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. But I'm picking Petr Yan decision. Super exciting fight, I'm thinking. And then on to the main event. We have Alexander Volkanovski versus the Korean Zombie. What do you say about this one? Volkanovski's beaten everybody you put in front of him. He took the belt from Max. He beat Max. He beat Brian Ortega. Korean Zombie, I don't know how deserving he is of this fight because he hasn't really beaten the top. I think his last fight was Dan Ige that he won. Before that, he lost to Brian Ortega. He's just kind of a late-minute replacement. Yeah, I don't know. I think that it's just, the thing is, Zombie's a different fucking animal. The guy, he can beat anybody any given night. He can also just not show up. You don't know what's going to happen. Volkanovski's so well-rounded that I just don't see any holes in his game where he would let the Zombie... Zombie's not going to get a decision win. He's not going to dominate him for 5 rounds. But Zombie does definitely have a chance to probably not submit, but maybe knock out Volkanovski just because he fights like a fucking zombie. And I don't think that Volkanovski is going to be able to knock out Zombie. I don't know. I'm picking Volk. I don't have a lot to say about this one because I don't think that Zombie should be in this fight. They need to get a different contender in there, someone that's beaten someone recently. But Zombie's got that cult following. He's got that style that can just beat anybody any given night. So I don't know. I do not know. But I'm picking Volkanovski. Weird fight. Weird matchup. I don't know. I don't know if I like that matchup. But moving on. Bareknuckle FC is this weekend. We got, I don't know who's on the card, a bunch of nobodies, but they put on fun ass cards. It's the 23rd event that they got, and it's just fun to watch people go out there and beat the shit out of each other without gloves for 10 minutes, 5 2-minute rounds. It's beautiful. So that's on the BKFC app. Go check that out when you get the chance. It starts Friday at 8 p.m., April 8th. So check it out. And then the boxing schedule this month. This weekend, we have Gennady Golovkin versus, let me get this name right. There. Gennady Golovkin versus Ryota Murata. And that's for the IBF middleweight belt. That's going to be a fun one. That's on DAZN. Then next weekend on Showtime, it's Errol Spence. He's fading Yordenis Ugas. Ugas just beat Pacquiao to get the belts. So they're fighting for a couple of, I think it's middleweight. No, fighting for a couple of welterweight belts. That's going to be a fun one. Errol Spence, top of the division. Ugas, also top of the division. Two top guys. Can't wait to see that one. And then the following weekend, the fight that I can't wait to see, April 23rd on ESPN Plus, probably a pay-per-view. It's going to be Tyson Fury versus Dylan White. It's going to be fucking awesome for the lineal heavyweight championship. And is it the WBC? Sorry. Yeah, the WBC heavyweight belt. So that's going to be an awesome fight. Love watching Tyson Fury. He's a showman. He's the best there is. And then Shakur Stevenson follows it up on ESPN Plus the following week against Oscar Valdez. It's going to be a fun one. Shakur Stevenson's an up-and-comer, and he's a beast. He's got fast hands. Great skills. Valdez, He's a dog too, so that it's gonna be a whole lot of fun. And then coming up in the next week and a half on in the MMA circuit, we got Bellator 277, I believe it is. Corey Anderson's taking on Vadim Nemkov for the light heavyweight Grand Prix championship and for the light heavyweight championship. That's going to be a fucking banger. Love both those fighters. And then you also got, who is it? Oh, Pitbull Fieri versus AJ McKee 2. McKee finished him in the first round last time. It's going to be a banger. These guys don't like each other, and it's for the strap featherweight. Can't wait for that one. And then on April 20th, 420, PFL's making its comeback to ESPN. They got PFL 1 for the new season, and it's got some fun fighters on it. Roush Manfia is on it, Antonio Carlos Jr. We got, what's the guy's name from last season? Ah, shit, I have it written down somewhere. Jeremy Stevens is fighting him. Clay Collard, that's who it is. So, Clay Collard versus Jeremy Stevens. We got Roush Manfia. We got Antonio Carlos Jr. It's just going to be a whole lot of fun. So, that we'll talk about that next week. We'll talk about those fights coming up, but that's what we have for you today. Kind of a weird episode. I'm trying to get back into the groove of things. I appreciate you tuning in, though. My name's Matt, and this has been Blood and Beer.